Thank you for listening to the Living Zen podcast. If you've been listening for a while and are wondering how you can take the next step in developing your own Zen practice, or how you can more formally connect with our community, please explore our online Orientation to Zen practice, which you can find on our website at zenwest.ca. If you enjoy the resources that we make available online, we would very much appreciate your support. There are a number of ways that you can help us continue to do the work we do. One of the best ways is by becoming a part of our community as an associate. Your commitment of $10 a month will ensure that offerings like the Living Zen podcast, eZendo, and our online Orientation to Zen will continue to be available around the world to everyone with an interest in truly living Zen. To become an associate, please visit our website at zenwest.ca and click on Become an Associate. Many more Zen Talks are available for purchase on iTunes and at Amazon.com. Just search for Venerable Eshu Martin. These talks are also made available for free on our website for all of our members and associates. You may also want to download the Living Zen podcast app, which makes downloading and listening to the podcast effortless. Thank you for your support, and thank you for listening to Living Zen. Tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about practical advice in spiritual practice. Where to begin? In Buddhism, there is this teaching of the three treasures. And I think that one of the tendencies that we can have is to over-philosophize, I guess we could say, to get too much into the philosophy, the deeper meaning of Buddhism. And sometimes we can just overlook the very simple, solid, practical advice that's offered in the teachings of Buddhism. So this teaching of three treasures points to three components, three aspects that we should be considering or investigating in our spiritual practice. The metaphor of these three treasures is very much like the three legs on this tripod that is holding the camera. That if we have a spiritual practice that has one or two maybe legs, then we have a foundation that's fundamentally unstable, and it can lead to all kinds of difficulty. In Buddhism, the three treasures are Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So practically speaking, what it's talking about is having a relationship with a teacher, there being a strong and clear teaching that's being expressed, and the value of a community of practice, or Sangha. Even in the time that I've been here in Victoria, I've seen a tremendous increase in the number of spiritual communities popping up all over the place. There's the old and familiar ones, everything from the Roman Catholic Church to the synagogue. But then there's now also every kind of Buddhism, every flavor of spirituality imaginable. And so how does a person decide where to go? Well, the first thing I recommend, I feel like a parent or something like this, is, don't be in a rush. Take some time to get to know them. I think that's important. I think it's very easy to go to a place and to be impressed by a building, or to be really impressed by a liturgy, the sound of chanting or songs, to be impressed by the number of people in that building, or in some cases, I guess, the size of the rock band, or the the espresso machine that they have for afterwards or something. But I think it's very important to sort of cut through all of those things and to spend some time really getting to know, really getting to get the feel for the community. More important than that even, getting a feel. Our feelings can be really powerful, inspiring. Sometimes they can really give us a strong and accurate sense. But our feelings can also mislead us, so we have to use them in cooperation with our brains. We should ask questions when we come into a spiritual community. We should ask about how the organization is run. We should ask about whether or not it has a board of directors or what the power structure in that organization is like. We should ask if there's a ethics policy. What's the policy about relationships between members and between teachers and students in a particular community? This is all really boring, I'm sure. And when we think about what we want to spend our time doing when we're in our spiritual community, it's probably not all of this stuff, all this research. But this stuff is very important, because if we are really to begin a spiritual practice, that spiritual practice has to be founded on trust. We have to find ourselves in a place in which we can open up entirely, where we feel supported and safe to plunge the depths of our own minds and our own hearts. A place where we can spill out all of the horrors and fears from the day we were born until today, to share them with people, to investigate them with people, to sit with them in the context of a community which is based on trust. And it's far easier, far more wise to do this after we've thoroughly investigated with our hearts and with our minds. Spend some time getting to know the people. Spend some time observing the relationships between the members in that community. Spend some time getting to know the teacher, especially. Investigate whether what the teacher is saying and what the teacher is doing are consistent. Ask questions. Maybe someone's wondering, why the heck is Eshu talking about this? Recently, I have more and more been witnessing the impacts of spiritual communities in which these questions were not asked. They weren't asked by the members, they weren't asked by the clergy, and most importantly, people weren't asking these questions of themselves. And the ripples of the damage that this kind of irresponsibility causes are still unfolding. So if you're just new to this practice, if you're just new to this community, I encourage you to ask questions. Ask questions of me. Ask questions of the members. Watch. Observe. Spend time getting to know, getting a feeling for. In many ways, aside from your marriages or your personal relationships, aside from your families, the impact of your spiritual practice, your spiritual community, there isn't much that's more significant, more impactful in your life. it's important that you base it on a strong foundation. And for many people, maybe that practice isn't Zen. Maybe it is Zen, but it's not with this community. And that's great. But wherever you go, whether that's here or whether that's down the road or whether that's in another country, take the time up front, develop the relationship, clarify what's going on. Once you've done this, take the time to truly put down roots in that community. Commit where you find a place worth committing to. Dig in and allow your practice to flourish. That's it. Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Living Zen podcast. If you follow Living Zen through iTunes, I would very much appreciate it if you would take a moment to let me know what you think about it by rating or reviewing the podcast, so that new listeners can also hear what you have to say. Thank you for your time and for your support.